The life partner you love talked to someone about you. Listen to this, ***. It didn't happen in a dramatic way, and it didn't come from impulse or curiosity. It happened quietly, the way things do when awareness reaches a point where it can no longer stay contained. This message is for you because your heart needs this right now, not to create urgency, but to bring understanding. Something about you has been sitting with them longer than you realize. Not your words, not a single moment, not a recent interaction, but who you've become. Before you even sensed it consciously, your inner world shifted. Your reactions softened. Your patience recalibrated. Your energy stopped reaching outward for certainty and began resting inward with trust. And when that happens in a soulmate-level connection, the other person feels it as displacement, like the ground beneath an old emotional structure quietly moved. Listen to this carefully, because what they needed to express was not about you in a surface way, it was about the impact you've had on their sense of direction. Sometimes the soul needs to speak externally in order to hear itself clearly. That's not gossip, that's processing. And the universe allowed it because a deeper realization was trying to take shape. Stay till the end, because this isn't about someone else's opinion influencing your bond. It's about the moment your presence crossed from familiar into meaningful. You didn't announce your growth. You didn't defend it. You didn't ask for recognition. You simply embodied it. And embodiment changes how people relate to you without you doing anything at all. This message is for you because you may have felt an energetic shift without context, a calm awareness, a sense of being held in someone's thoughts differently, or even a sudden emotional stillness where anxiety used to live. That wasn't random. That was alignment settling in. Don't scroll, because this part matters deeply. When someone speaks about you from a place of gravity, it's because they're no longer able to treat the connection lightly. They are confronting what you represent in their life. Not as a fantasy. Not as an option. But as a mirror. And mirrors force honesty. Listen to this gently, because the universe does not expose what is sacred, it clarifies it. Angel numbers may have appeared around this time, not loudly, not repeatedly, but subtly. Seeing 222 when you were questioning balance was the universe reminding you that partnership energy was active beneath the surface. Seeing 444 during moments of calm was reassurance that you were protected while things rearranged elsewhere. Seeing 111 when you felt inwardly clear was confirmation that alignment had already begun within you, regardless of external movement. Your heart needs this right now because you are not meant to interpret this as validation or threat. You are meant to understand it as evidence of maturity. When someone reaches outside themselves to speak about you thoughtfully, it means the connection has reached a contemplative stage. They are no longer reacting, they are integrating. And integration takes time, space, and honesty. Don't rush this moment in your mind. You are not behind. You are not waiting. You are already standing in truth. What they are catching up to is what you've already embodied. Listen carefully, because the most important shift didn't happen in them, it happened in you. You no longer feel the need to control outcomes. You no longer chase reassurance. You no longer require constant confirmation to stay grounded. And that internal steadiness changes the way others carry you in their thoughts. This message is for you because you are learning that being spoken about thoughtfully is not about being evaluated, it's about being acknowledged. And acknowledgement doesn't always come directly at first. Sometimes it needs distance to form clarity. Stay with this, because here's the truth meant to settle your heart: nothing about this moment is meant to destabilize you. You are not being pulled back into uncertainty. You are being shown that your growth has weight. Real weight. The kind that alters trajectories quietly. Whether this leads to a conversation, a shift in presence, or simply a deeper internal reckoning on their side, you will not be asked to abandon your center to receive it. You are already aligned. You are already steady. Breathe into that. Trust what is unfolding without forcing it into meaning too soon. And if this message grounded you instead of stirring fear, stay connected and subscribe, because what comes next will not arrive through noise or urgency, it will arrive through clarity, intention, and the kind of love that recognizes you not for who you were, but for who you've become. It didn't create noise, it created space, and that space is where the universe does its most serious work. This message is for you because after the moment your presence was spoken aloud, something shifted into a deeper phase that isn't visible on the surface but is powerful underneath. What happened next was not action, it was reflection. The life partner you love didn't rush toward conclusions or decisions. Instead, they slowed down internally. And slowing down is what happens when something matters enough to be handled carefully. Listen to this carefully, because when a connection reaches this stage, the universe is no longer testing chemistry or emotion, it's testing capacity. Your heart needs this right now because you may feel a strange calm paired with awareness, like you're no longer emotionally leaning forward even though something important is unfolding. That calm isn't detachment, it's self-trust finally taking the lead. After your growth was acknowledged, even indirectly. Your energy stopped seeking validation entirely. And that changed the balance. The connection is no longer being carried by effort or emotional labor. It's being held up to reality. Stay with this, because this is where many people misunderstand silence. Silence here is not avoidance. It's digestion. Your presence has become something they are trying to understand, not escape. They are noticing how you no longer fill emotional gaps, how you allow conversations to end without fixing them, how your stillness feels intentional instead of withdrawn. That difference is disarming. This message is for you because you didn't do anything to cause this shift, you stopped doing what drained you. And that alone revealed the truth of the dynamic. Listen to this gently, because soulmate-level connections don't break loudly when they change, they realign quietly. Angel numbers may have appeared during this phase not as urgent signs, but as quiet anchors. You might have noticed 606 during moments of emotional neutrality, signaling inner balance returning. You might have seen 717 when you felt unusually clear, confirming that spiritual alignment was already in motion. These signs weren't asking you to move, they were asking you to stay where you are. Don't scroll, because this part matters deeply. The life partner you love is now encountering a version of you that doesn't chase meaning, it creates meaning by being grounded. They feel that conversations with you carry weight now, that your silence no longer asks for reassurance, that your presence isn't trying to secure anything. That realization changes how someone relates to you without them intending to change at all. This message is for you because you may notice that you don't feel pulled into analysis the way you used to. You're not replaying scenarios. You're not waiting for signs. You're not emotionally bracing. You are allowing. And allowing is the most confronting state for anyone who is used to control or ambiguity. Listen carefully, because what's happening now is filtration at a higher level. The connection is no longer sustained by memory, hope, or emotional momentum. It's being measured by truth. Can it exist without you carrying it? Can it move forward without you softening misalignment? Can it meet you where you stand instead of where you once bent? These questions are not being asked out loud, they are being answered through behavior. Angel numbers like 818 may show up when you feel steady, reflecting karmic recalibration. Seeing 226 during reflective moments may confirm that balance is no longer something you negotiate, it's something you embody. Stay with this message, because you are no longer meant to intervene in how this unfolds. You are meant to remain consistent in who you are now. Your growth has created a different energetic contract, one where access requires clarity instead of assumption. That doesn't mean distance, it means discernment. And discernment changes timelines quietly. The life partner you love may feel moments of hesitation, respect, curiosity, or even emotional gravity they can't name. But what matters is this: you are no longer affected in the way you once were. You are not moved by uncertainty. You are not destabilized by silence. You are anchored. Breathe into that. Let the steadiness deepen. Whatever unfolds next will not require explanation, urgency, or emotional strain. It will arrive, or fall away, in response to who you are now. And who you are now is someone the universe trusts to stand in alignment without needing reassurance. It didn't announce itself as realization. It arrived as weight, the kind that settles slowly and makes everything else feel more serious than before. This message is for you because after reflection came responsibility, and responsibility changes the emotional temperature of a connection without any conversation needing to happen yet. The life partner you love didn't just sit with thoughts about you, they started feeling the implications of those thoughts. What does it mean that you no longer respond the same way? What does it mean that your presence feels steadier, quieter, less emotionally available to uncertainty? These questions didn't come with panic, they came with gravity. Listen to this carefully, because gravity is what pulls people out of illusion. Your heart needs this right now because you may sense that something is deciding itself in the background, even though nothing has been said directly. That sensation isn't anxiety, it's truth organizing itself. After the space and silence, after the digestion, your growth began acting like a mirror they couldn't turn away from. They started seeing how often you carried emotional continuity, how often you gave patient structure, how often you made things feel okay without things actually being okay. And now, without you doing that work anymore, the imbalance is visible. Stay with this, because this is not blame forming, it's awareness forming. Awareness is uncomfortable, but it's honest. Listen gently, because the universe does not rush honesty, it allows it to ripen. Angel numbers may be appearing now in ways that feel grounding rather than symbolic. You might notice 808 when you feel emotionally neutral, signaling balance recalibrating. You might catch 616 when you're calm, reminding you that emotional responsibility has shifted where it belongs. These signs aren't predicting outcomes, they're stabilizing you while others catch up internally. This message is for you because you are no longer meant to manage what they're realizing. You're meant to remain where you are, steady, present, and self-respecting. And that steadiness is doing more work than words ever could. Listen to this carefully, because this is where many people get tempted to explain themselves, soften the truth, or step back into emotional labor to ease discomfort. But the universe is asking you not to interfere. What's forming now must form honestly. Your person is beginning to understand that connection with you is no longer something that can be sustained passively. It requires presence, clarity, and intention. And intention is not something everyone knows how to access easily. Stay here, because this part matters deeply. You may notice that your emotions feel less volatile now. Even when you think of them, there's no spike of hope or drop of disappointment, just awareness. That's not disinterest. That's regulation. And regulation removes emotional leverage from dynamics built on uncertainty. Listen to this, because the connection is now being evaluated not by history, chemistry, or feeling, but by capacity. Can it hold truth without collapsing? Can it exist without you buffering discomfort? Can it move forward without you anchoring it alone? These answers are emerging quietly, not through confrontation, but through behavior and hesitation. Angel numbers like 7. May 27th appear during moments of insight, signaling inner wisdom consolidating. Seeing 247 when you're reflective may confirm that reciprocity is no longer optional in your life, it's foundational. Stay with this message, because what's unfolding now does not require patience, it requires consistency. Consistency in honoring your boundaries. Consistency in trusting your nervous system. Consistency in not stepping backward to make something familiar. The life partner you love may now feel the seriousness of what's at stake, not losing you dramatically, but losing automatic access to you. And that distinction changes everything. Automatic access ends when self-respect begins. Breathe into that. Let the truth settle without rushing it into outcome. You are not waiting for clarity, you are allowing clarity to reveal itself through reality. And whatever unfolds next will not surprise you, because you are no longer emotionally invested in illusion. You are invested in alignment. And alignment has a way of making the next step obvious without making it loud. It didn't feel like a turning point at first, it felt like stability becoming undeniable, the kind that settles so quietly you only realize it after it's already holding you. This message is for you because after responsibility came inevitability, and inevitability doesn't rush or announce itself. It simply arrives. The life partner you love is now standing in a space where the truth they've been circling can no longer be avoided or softened. They are no longer just aware that you've changed, they are aware that the connection itself cannot return to what it once was. Not because something broke, but because something matured. Listen to this carefully, because maturity changes the rules without asking permission. Your heart needs this right now because you may feel an unfamiliar steadiness, not relief, not excitement, just a deep sense that you are no longer emotionally suspended. That steadiness is not accidental. It's the result of you no longer negotiating with your intuition. After the reflection, after the wait, after the quiet reckoning, your person has begun to feel the finality of your growth. Finality doesn't mean endings, it means irreversibility. You cannot unknow what you now know about yourself. And they can feel that. Stay with this, because this is where the universe stops offering lessons and starts allowing consequences to form naturally. Your person is noticing that your presence no longer bends around uncertainty. Conversations don't stretch the same way. Silence doesn't pull you inward. There's no emotional elasticity left to lean on. That absence forces honesty. Not spoken honesty yet, internal honesty. And internal honesty is the most uncomfortable kind. Listen gently, because this is not about them realizing they might lose you. It's about them realizing they can no longer access you casually. Access now requires alignment. And alignment demands effort, courage, and consistency, things that can't be rushed. Angel numbers may be appearing during this phase in quieter patterns. You might notice 909 when you feel settled, signaling a cycle completing at the soul level. You might see 636 during moments of emotional neutrality, reminding you that harmony has already returned within you, regardless of external outcomes. These signs aren't warnings. They're confirmations that you're no longer meant to intervene. This message is for you because you might feel moments of compassion toward them without feeling responsible for their process. That's growth. You can care without carrying. You can witness without fixing. And that shift is enormous. Listen to this carefully, because many people mistake this phase as emotional distance. It isn't. It's emotional clarity. You are no longer available for dynamics that require you to manage uncertainty. And your person is beginning to feel that pressure, not from you, but from reality. Stay here, because this is where the universe does its cleanest work. The connection is now being tested by truth alone. No nostalgia. No chemistry. No potential. Just reality. Can it stand without you propping it up? Can it evolve without you shrinking? Can it meet you where you stand now, not where you once compromised? These answers are unfolding quietly, through pauses, hesitations, and subtle behavioral shifts. Angel numbers like 836 may appear when you're grounded, reflecting karmic balance asserting itself. Seeing 236 during reflective moments may confirm that reciprocity is no longer negotiable in your life, it's foundational. Stay with this message, because the most important change isn't happening to the connection, it's happening through you. You are no longer emotionally flexible in the ways that once drained you. You are stable. Rooted. And stability exposes everything that relied on imbalance to exist. The life partner you love is now standing at a quiet crossroads internally, whether they recognize it yet or not. But you are not standing there with them. You've already moved past the intersection and into alignment. Breathe into that. Let the steadiness deepen without forcing meaning onto it. Whatever comes next will not require emotional labor, explanation, or sacrifice. It will respond to who you are now. And who you are now is someone the universe trusts to stand in truth without needing it to be comfortable. It doesn't feel like momentum anymore, it feels like ground, solid and unmoving beneath your feet. This message is for you because after inevitability comes choice, and choice is where truth finally separates what can grow from what can only linger. The life partner you love is now experiencing something subtle but decisive, the connection no longer feels suspended in possibility. It feels defined by reality. And reality has a weight that fantasy never carries. Listen to this carefully, because this is the phase where you stop being emotionally involved in how things resolve and start being anchored in who you are regardless. Your heart needs this right now because you may notice that even uncertainty no longer unsettles you the way it once did. You're not waiting for clarity to feel stable. You're stable first, and that changes everything. After all the internal shifts, after reflection turned into responsibility and responsibility into inevitability, your person is beginning to sense that time itself is no longer neutral. Not rushed. Not urgent. But meaningful. They can feel that every moment of hesitation now has consequence. Not because you're leaving, but because you're no longer standing still. Listen to this gently, because this isn't about pressure, it's about alignment. Your growth has placed the connection under a different lens. What once floated on emotion now has to stand on intention. And intention exposes truth quickly. Stay with this, because this is where many people mistake calm for closure. You haven't closed your heart. You've claimed it. You no longer feel the impulse to explain yourself, justify your boundaries, or soften reality to keep things comfortable. Comfort that costs self-respect is no longer attractive to your nervous system. And your person feels that shift as a quiet distance, even though you haven't gone anywhere. That distance isn't emotional, it's structural. The old scaffolding is gone. Listen to this, because soulmate-level connections don't dissolve when one person grows. They are restructured. And restructuring always reveals what was load-bearing and what was decorative. Angel numbers may appear during this phase with a steadier rhythm. You might notice 707 during moments of stillness, signaling inner alignment locking in. You might catch 828 when you feel grounded, reminding you that karmic balance is asserting itself without drama. These signs aren't nudging you forward, they're affirming that you're already where you need to be. This message is for you because you are no longer required to participate in emotional uncertainty. Your person is beginning to understand that access to you is no longer based on history, feeling, or familiarity. It's based on presence. And presence cannot be delayed indefinitely. Listen carefully, because this is where hesitation becomes visible. Not as failure, not as rejection, but as information. Information about capacity. Information about readiness. Information about whether someone can meet you without you shrinking. Stay here, because the universe is no longer asking you to be patient, it's asking you to be consistent. Consistent in honoring your intuition. Consistent in staying rooted when silence appears. Consistent in not stepping backward to rescue a dynamic that must now stand on its own. You may notice that even compassion feels different now. You can feel it without it pulling you into responsibility. You can wish someone clarity without needing to walk them there. That's not distance, that's discernment fully embodied. Angel numbers like 337 may show up during moments of insight, signaling higher wisdom integrating into your emotional responses. Seeing 257 when you feel neutral may confirm that reciprocity is no longer something you negotiate for, it's a requirement. Stay with this message, because what's unfolding now is not dramatic, but it is decisive. The connection is being measured by truth alone. No emotional buffering. No silent endurance. No hope carrying weight it shouldn't. And that measurement will reveal itself naturally. You don't need to ask. You don't need to wait. Reality will answer. Breathe into that. Let the steadiness settle deeper into your body. You are no longer hovering between versions of yourself. You are standing firmly in the one that knows. And from this place, whatever comes next will not cost you peace, clarity, or self-respect, because you are no longer available for anything that requires you to give those away. It settles in as a quiet authority, not something you announce, not something you defend, but something you live from. This message is for you because after choice comes embodiment, and embodiment is when the universe stops negotiating with possibility and starts responding to truth. You are no longer standing at the edge of what might happen. You are standing in who you are, regardless of what does. That shift is subtle on the surface, but it changes the entire energetic contract of the connection. The life partner you love is now feeling something they didn't anticipate. Your steadiness is no longer something they can influence. Not with timing. Not with silence. Not with emotional uncertainty. Listen to this carefully, because this phase is not about movement. It's about presence. Your heart needs this right now because you may notice that even when thoughts of them arise, they don't create tension in your body anymore. There's no tightening. No leaning forward. No bracing. Just awareness. And awareness without attachment is power fully integrated. After everything that has unfolded, the recognition, the reflection, the weight, the inevitability, the choice, you have arrived at a place where you are no longer emotionally persuadable. You don't need clarity to feel safe. You don't need reassurance to feel grounded. And that internal independence changes how everyone experiences you. Stay with this, because this is where many people misunderstand what's happening. From the outside, it may look like nothing has changed. From the inside, everything has. The connection is no longer carried by your emotional flexibility. It is being met by your emotional structure. And structure doesn't bend to uncertainty. Listen gently, because your person can feel this shift even if they can't articulate it. They sense that the version of you who once waited patiently in emotional ambiguity is no longer present. Not because you hardened, but because you healed. And healing removes unconscious access. Angel numbers may appear during this phase in ways that feel almost background. You might notice 505 when you're calm, signaling a completed transition into self-trust. You might see 7:15 during moments of clarity, reminding you that inner wisdom is now leading instead of emotion. These aren't signals to act, they are confirmations that you are anchored. This message is for you because you are no longer meant to do anything to move this forward. Forward motion is happening through who you are, not what you say. Your person is now encountering the full reality of your presence, calm, discerning, unavailable to confusion. And that reality forces a deeper internal reckoning. Not dramatic. Not immediate. But honest. Listen to this carefully, because this is where dynamics either rise into alignment or fade without conflict. You are no longer invested in outcomes that require you to compromise your nervous system. And that boundary is non-negotiable now, not because you decided it intellectually, but because your body recognizes safety differently. Stay here, because this part matters deeply. You may notice that compassion flows through you without dragging you into responsibility. You can care without carrying. You can witness without fixing. You can love without dissolving yourself. That balance is the result of deep integration. Angel numbers like 845 may appear when you feel grounded, reflecting karmic balance stabilizing. Seeing 245 during reflective moments may confirm that reciprocity is no longer something you wait for, it's something you require naturally. Stay with this message, because what's unfolding now doesn't need interpretation. It will reveal itself through behavior, presence, and choice. You are no longer asking the universe to show you where you stand. You know. And knowing removes urgency. Whatever the life partner you love chooses next, clarity or comfort, presence or distance, will meet a version of you that is no longer shaken by uncertainty. Breathe into that. Let the authority settle deeper. You didn't come this far to hover between versions of yourself. You came here to live from alignment. And alignment doesn't rush, chase, or explain. It stands. And everything else responds accordingly. It no longer feels like a process you're moving through, it feels like a state you're living from, and that's the difference that changes everything. This message is for you because after embodiment comes embodiment being recognized, not through words, not through validation, but through how the world begins to respond to you differently. You may notice it in subtle ways first. People don't test your boundaries the same way. Silence doesn't provoke anxiety in you anymore. Situations that once demanded explanation now resolve themselves without effort. That's not coincidence. That's alignment settling into your nervous system. The life partner you love feels this too, even if they can't name it. They sense that you are no longer emotionally reachable through uncertainty or delay. Not because you shut down, but because you no longer live in anticipation. Listen to this carefully, because this phase is where many people expect something to happen. A message, a decision, a turning point, but the real shift is internal and already complete. Your heart needs this right now because you may feel a strange calm paired with readiness, like you're prepared for anything but attached to nothing. That calm isn't numbness. It's confidence without performance. After all the stages, recognition, reflection, responsibility, inevitability, choice, embodiment, you have arrived at emotional sovereignty. And emotional sovereignty removes leverage from any dynamic that relied on imbalance to survive. Stay with this, because this is where truth becomes unavoidable for everyone else. The life partner you love is now encountering you as someone who does not wait to be chosen. Someone who does not need clarity to feel safe. Someone who does not stay emotionally flexible just to preserve connection. That realization doesn't provoke panic, it provokes respect. And respect changes behavior before it changes language. Listen gently, because this isn't about them fearing loss. It's about them realizing that access to you now has conditions, not rules, not ultimatums, but standards. Standards rooted in self-respect, nervous system safety, and emotional presence. Angel numbers may still appear, but they feel almost incidental now. You might notice 1111 when you feel deeply settled, signaling alignment fully integrated. You might catch 737 during moments of reflection, reminding you that inner wisdom has completed its work. These aren't signs pointing forward, they're confirmations that you've arrived. This message is for you because you are no longer meant to soften reality for anyone. You're not meant to explain your growth. You're not meant to translate your boundaries into comfort. You're meant to live them. And living them quietly teaches others how to treat you, or whether they can. Stay here, because this is where the universe stops sorting through potential and starts revealing truth through behavior. The life partner you love may now feel a clear internal question forming, even if they haven't answered it yet. Can I meet this version of you without asking you to come down to me? That question is not yours to answer. It's theirs. And you no longer wait in the doorway of that question. Listen carefully, because this is where peace becomes permanent. You may notice that even when emotions arise, they move through you without destabilizing you. You can feel affection without attachment, concern without responsibility, memory without longing. That's not distance, that's integration. Angel numbers like 937 may appear during moments of insight, signaling a karmic chapter nearing full completion. Seeing 237 when you're neutral may confirm that balance is no longer something you seek, it's something you inhabit. Stay with this message, because what unfolds next will not come through urgency or drama. It will come through alignment responding to alignment. You are no longer positioned in a waiting role in anyone's life. You are positioned in your own. And that shift changes the direction of everything. The life partner you love may rise into clarity or retreat into familiarity, but either choice will now meet a version of you that is steady, whole, and unmovable by uncertainty. Breathe into that truth. Let it settle fully. You didn't come this far to hover between versions of yourself. You came here to live as the one who knows. And from this place, whatever comes next will not ask you to shrink, explain, or endure. It will meet you, or it will move aside. And either way, you remain rooted, aligned, and at peace. It doesn't feel like an ending, it feels like completion without collapse, the kind that leaves you standing taller instead of emptied out. This message is for you because after sovereignty comes integration, and integration is when the universe stops circling lessons and lets you live the result. You are no longer moving through stages, you are inhabiting a new emotional baseline. The life partner you love is no longer the axis around which your inner world turns. Not because they stopped mattering, but because you started mattering more in a grounded, embodied way. That shift didn't happen overnight, but now that it's here, it's unmistakable. Listen to this carefully, because this is the phase where many people expect closure to come from someone else, a final conversation, a clear decision, a dramatic confirmation. But your closure arrived internally first, and that is the only kind that lasts. Your heart needs this right now because you may notice how steady you feel even without answers. You're no longer emotionally budgeting your energy around what might happen. You're not rehearsing responses. You're not preparing for disappointment or hoping for rescue. You are simply present in yourself. And presence is the highest form of power. After everything that unfolded, the recognition, the reflection, the weight, the inevitability, the choice, the embodiment, the sovereignty, you've reached a point where your nervous system recognizes safety without external agreement. That changes the trajectory of your life quietly but permanently. Stay with this, because this is where alignment becomes visible. The life partner you love now feels the full contrast between who you were and who you are. They may experience moments of clarity, respect, or even longing, but none of those emotions can pull you backward anymore. Not because you resist them, but because they no longer override your center. You've integrated the lesson so fully that the dynamic itself has lost its emotional leverage. Listen gently, because this isn't about them realizing something too late. It's about you realizing that you are no longer available for connections that require emotional tension to feel alive. Angel numbers may still cross your awareness, but they feel almost symbolic now, like quiet nods from the universe rather than instructions. You might notice 12. 12 when you feel deeply settled, signaling full circle alignment. You might catch 10-10 during moments of calm, confirming that one chapter has closed cleanly and another is already underway. These aren't signs of waiting, they're signs of arrival. This message is for you because you are no longer meant to frame your life around emotional suspense. You are oriented toward clarity, stability, and mutual presence now. And that orientation filters everything automatically. The life partner you love may now understand, on some level, that access to you is no longer emotional default. It's earned through alignment. But whether they rise to meet that or not is no longer something you manage, fear, or anticipate. You have already moved past the point where their readiness defines your direction. Stay here, because this is where peace becomes structural, not situational. You may notice how your decisions feel cleaner. How your intuition speaks without urgency. How your body relaxes instead of braces. That's not coincidence, that's integration complete. Angel numbers like 912 may appear during reflective moments, signaling karmic resolution. Seeing 612 when you're calm may confirm that emotional harmony is now internal, not conditional. Listen to this carefully, because this is the final truth the universe wants you to carry forward. You didn't lose anything real along the way. What fell away were versions of connection that depended on imbalance, uncertainty, or emotional labor. What remains, or what comes next, will not require you to shrink, wait, decode, or endure. It will meet you where you stand, with clarity instead of confusion, presence instead of potential. Breathe into that. Let the certainty settle without needing to name it. This is not the end of your story. This is the point where your story stops revolving around who might choose you and starts unfolding around who can stand beside you. You are no longer defined by what someone else decides. You are defined by alignment. And alignment has a way of drawing in exactly what can honor it, quietly, steadily, without drama. It doesn't close with a decision from them, it closes with a decision within you, and that's the kind that changes everything without asking permission. This message is for you because you've reached the point where the universe no longer needs to explain what happened, why it happened, or who understood what, when. You don't need a recap anymore. You are the resolution. After everything that unfolded. The noticing, the reflection, the wait, the reckoning, the grounding, the sovereignty, something unmistakable has settled into your spirit. You are no longer living from anticipation. You are living from truth. And truth doesn't hurry, doesn't prove, doesn't wait to be validated. It simply stands. Listen to this carefully, because this is the quiet ending your heart was always meant to reach. The life partner you love may still think about you, process you, or even recognize too late what shifted, but none of that determines your stability now. You are no longer shaped by who understands you and who doesn't. You are shaped by alignment. Your heart needs this right now because you may finally feel how little effort it takes to be at peace when you stop negotiating with uncertainty. You're not emotionally rehearsing conversations. You're not bracing for outcomes. You're not scanning signs for reassurance. You're present. And presence is the highest form of closure. Stay with this, because this is where the universe stops teaching you through contrast and starts honoring you through confirmation. You may notice that your intuition feels calm instead of urgent, clear instead of loud. That's because it's no longer trying to protect you from misalignment. You've already stepped out of it. Angel numbers may still appear, but they arrive like gentle acknowledgments rather than guidance. You might see 1122 when you feel deeply grounded, signaling that a soul-level structure has completed itself. You might catch 1221 during moments of stillness, reminding you that integration has replaced effort. These aren't signs asking you to wait. They're signs telling you that you're free to live. This message is for you because the final lesson was never about whether they would choose you, rise to meet you, or understand you in time. The lesson was about whether you would stop shrinking to keep something alive. And you did. You chose yourself without anger, without drama, without closing your heart. You chose yourself quietly. That choice restructured your entire emotional world. Listen gently, because this is the ending many people never reach. Not because it's dramatic, but because it requires self-trust. You can now care without attachment, remember without longing, and love without losing yourself. That doesn't make you distant. It makes you whole. The life partner you love may remain part of your story or fade into memory, but either way, you are no longer standing in a place of emotional suspension. You are moving forward from stability. Stay here, because this is where destiny becomes practical. What comes next in your life will not require you to interpret mixed signals, endure emotional labor, or wait for clarity to feel safe. What comes next will meet you clearly, steadily, and without confusion, because you no longer resonate with anything else. Breathe into that truth. Let it settle fully. This is not the end of love. This is the end of uncertainty pretending to be love. And from this place, only connections that can stand beside your growth will be able to stand with you at all. If this series grounded you, strengthened you, or helped you recognize how far you've come without needing fear or urgency, stay connected and subscribe, not because you're waiting for something to happen, but because you're ready to live from alignment, and what the universe reveals next will meet you where you already are, steady, awake, and finally at peace.